Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. There's no material reason why I need to be wearing business casual for this video, but a third of my closet no longer has any purpose, so I'm trying to get some use out of these clothes for once to talk about sales. There are many options and ways you can sell your labor in the market. Sales is just one of them. And this video ideally is to help you decide whether sales as a job is the vehicle to do that or not. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I love how much my Instagram community has grown with me over time. And if you're watching this and the subscribe button is still red, I'll pop back in at the end of the video to see if I've earned your follow. All right, starting with the pros. Travel. Just throwing it out there. Arguably one of the biggest, best, brightest pros you have to a sales career. I have gotten to go to so many amazing places in my time in sales without having to use my personal income to do so, you know, all on the company dollar, which is a huge luxury. Just experiencing cities I don't know if I ever would have gotten to go to on my own has been so enriching. I have vlogged a couple of my business trips, so if you want to check any of those out, I'll have them linked up above as well as in the description. But truly the places I was able to stay at, the food that I was able to eat with my stipend every day that I would expense, I personally with my own budget could never afford. So it's huge, like it's very glamorous. It feels really shishi and like very opulent, in large part because sales has a huge travel budget set aside as compared to some other departments like maybe marketing or operations. Like in sales, your company in a normal year knows you'll be traveling. So while you can't like truly just ball out, I've been able to stay at the Ritz-Carlton in LA. Like I've been able to see Michelle Obama speak. I've eaten at like Michelin rated restaurants in Las Vegas, and it's enticing. Like those things are fun. I won't lie. Like it's really exciting, and it feels big because it is, because not everyone has the means to travel around the country, or even some salespeople get to do international trips. So if traveling for work is something you've glorified or idolized, like in a time when we're allowed to travel, sales will give you that. Salary can be another pro. Kind of two facets to this. One is that at any given company, some of the highest paid employees will be salespeople because there ostensibly is no cap to your income. You have a target income that you'll achieve if you hit 100% of your quota. But if you outperform your quota 200%, 300% onwards and upwards, there's people earning 7 figures at the top range. But that's a very, very slim margin of people. And I can't even imagine the amount of time that goes into that level of achievement. But just in general, many salespeople make 6 figures pretty quickly for a non-technical job that's not software engineering or, you know, a physician. The salaries I saw out of college for sales were higher than those of my consulting peers. So, and consulting, I feel like culturally gets a lot of credit for being super high paying. So full stop, a lot of people go into sales just for the money. You have this, I would call it kind of an illusion of control, because I'll get into that in the cons later. You don't have complete control over it, but it's not the same as, you know, a finance job or an IT job where they set your salary when you sign your contract. And yes, you can work with your boss to make sure you get a bonus or a promotion or a pay bump, but like your paychecks every week are the same. With sales, you can have some months where you're cashing in a huge chunk of change because you closed a huge deal, and at the end of the year, you don't have to negotiate a bonus because your performance becomes your bonus. Like you have real-time control over that. Another definite pro that I see is that a specific degree is not required, and in some cases, a degree itself is not required. You don't need to specialize in sales from the moment you're born to get into it. You can pivot into sales at any point because it's more about the intangibles that you have and your ability to learn quick and be goal-oriented. I've seen cases where they'll pick people from unconventional backgrounds, like selling suits at Nordstrom or working in a salon. I mean, there's VPs out there that never got their bachelor's degree, much less an MBA. So I think in terms of expectation of this like traditional route of education, there isn't one for sales, in my personal opinion. I mean, even looking at my educational background, I never gave sales a single thought in college. I was a business major, but I didn't take a single class in it, didn't do a single internship in it, didn't have any like mentorship relationships with anybody in sales, and yet I was able to get a job and they took a chance on me because every single company has a different sort of approach to sales, different mechanisms, different products. Like there's not, you know, one textbook you can read on it that will be universally applicable. I appreciate that it's not educationally exclusive at a lot of companies. TLDR, sales isn't rocket science. Like, we all know that. It's not medicine, it's not law, doesn't require a ton of specialization, so it's more open in that regard. Mobility. There are a ton of different roles in sales. You can move up pretty quickly. I mean, just in my time, I was thinking about it the other day, I've been at the current company I work for 3.5 years, and I've been promoted 5 times. Some of those were just small titled bumps, like from BDR to senior BDR, so not actually a fully different role, but still, like, that's pretty damn fast. And I don't think I'm the exception. That sort of acceleration into different roles I've seen across a ton of my peers. I'm not special. Versus I have some friends that started out as marketing managers, and the best performing marketing manager won't be promoted for 3 years, you know? Like, it's just, corporate America is so weird. Every job function has like a different flow to the amount you can be promoted over time, and every company has a different system, but I can just attest to how fast I've seen people shoot up and also shoot across. So I've seen folks go from like a traditional inside sales job to becoming a solutions consultant or a CSM, you know, customer success manager, move into product marketing, move into like more a partner manager role or a renewals manager role. Because you work with a pretty large ecosystem in sales, it sets you up well to move around in like tangential job functions. And then there's remote work and the flexibility that comes with that. So not all sales jobs are remote. I worked in the office every single day when I was in inside sales. And when you're in that environment, you're restricted. Like, I was in the office 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then I would get home around 6, and suddenly it's too late to go to the post office. And you have to see if your therapist has any evening appointments, because you can't just, you know, leave the office and commute across the city during the day. Obviously, things are so different now. It feels weird to even talk about office culture because it's been almost a year since I've stepped foot in an office. Remote work, as many of us may have experienced, like, you have a lot more flexibility. If my chiropractor only has one open appointment and it's Mondays at 10:30, I have enough leeway over my schedule as a field salesperson to just make sure I block that time off and don't schedule anything. And it's not like I'm super restricted anymore. I mean, I've had account executives call me from the Wendy's drive-thru, from the bleachers of their daughter's volleyball games. Like, it's not necessarily conventional. You're in your desk chair. You certainly have some freedom over your schedule, especially now that, you know, a lot of parents are schooling their kids. It's like, if you need to get up in the morning, do some work, then school your kids for a couple hours, and then jump back in, then jump out and work, you know, evenings, like, you have some flexibility just to get your work done. Another pro is that sales can be very social. You get to meet a lot of people, you work with a lot of different functions at the company, you know, from finance to credit to invoicing, customer support. You know, you get to meet a lot of people internally and then also externally at customer events and conferences and meetings. Now it's all virtual and kind of lonely, but even still, like, over the phone, salespeople are so approachable, you know, very friendly. I'm generalizing. Notice I didn't say extroverted. There's a lot of loud personalities, you know, very playful people, so it does make it fun when you're in person, even virtually, to hang out, because it's not really a stuffy or serious environment, especially when I was in the office. Sales floors are known to be very loud, you know, like, that's what you're getting yourself into, but I love a lot of stimulation, so I personally appreciate it. No one tells me how to do my job, just what I need to accomplish. Maybe this is true of many jobs, but if you're not in a, you know, sales support role, like inside sales, you pretty much get to create your own workflow. How do you want to reach out to customers? Who you reach out to first? Events you hold, you know, presentations you create, that's all up to you, and, you know, your divine strategy, anything you concoct is up to you. Your manager's there to support you and maybe run through some of those ideas and check boxes to make sure that you're hitting your goals, as, you know, to the best of your ability. But my manager never gives me work. Like, occasionally there'll be some spreadsheet I need to fill out, but it's not like I wake up in the morning and wait for direction. Like, it's not like someone's giving me a pile of stuff on Slack and then everyone divvies it up. Like, clearly I have no idea how other jobs work, but I know for sure in the account executive role or the field sales role, like, you really do get a lot of direction to be the owner of your business and be the sort of like GM of your territory. Okay, beware, some of these pros are gonna rear the little ugly heads in the cons section, so do not get it twisted. Cons. Hours. You're online a lot. Some would say 24/7, especially because you work across time zones. I'm on the West Coast, but every day I work with people Central Time, Mountain Time, Eastern Time. I've had customers where we've had to schedule calls where one person's in the UK, few of us are across time zones in America, and one person's in India. Like, make that math work. It doesn't. The calls are like at cuckoo bonkers, 5:30 a.m. my time. And like your work calendar on a macro level, not just daily hours, your calendar and your holidays don't always match up with your customers and their companies. So while you may have a week off over Christmas, sometimes your customers don't, and they might have issues with the products that, you know, you have to jump on or make sure somebody jumps on. Since your salary isn't fixed, like I said, it can be hard to contend with the idea that if you work 80 hours a week and push yourself to the limit, you'll be able to perform so much better, you know, functionally twice as good as you would putting in 40 hours a week. But the reality is you'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Like, you never know, you never quite know how the hours you're putting in contribute to your earnings. There's no formula to figure that out. It's not like I show up for a shift and then I leave the shift and I'm done with my job. It's like some people just abandon all hobbies, all mental health, all friends, all family, and just like go ham and just try to like outwork themselves. But you risk burnout that way, and I personally want to enjoy my life, not just my labor. You know, is it possible to enjoy labor? I don't know. I don't know if I explained that clearly, but with other jobs, if you're like a communications coordinator or something, it's like you have your set salary, whatever it is, you know, 70K a year. And it's like, if you work 45 hours or 40, you're still going to earn 70K a year, you know, which makes it easier to sort of like manage your time. But in sales, it's like you could earn 40K that year or 140K, but you just don't know if you just put in 5 more hours a week, like, will that get you over the hedge? Or if you put in, like, it gets hard. Next con is pace. It's fast, 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 almost all the time. You know, you get a little bit of downtime after the fiscal year ends, but not really. It's like as soon as one deal closes, you're on to the next. You always think that you'll be able to take a beat and just celebrate and relax, but it never quite works out that way. So if you're someone that doesn't want a fast-paced work environment, which is totally reasonable, like I personally wouldn't recommend sales. It just is a job where it's not just like, okay, tax season, it's busy in this one, you know, time range. Sales is like every single quarter, at the end of the quarter, you're going to be making a mad dash to hit your quota. All hands on deck, just frantic. Fire drills are popping up left and right. And some sales programs, it's like every month you're really expected to hit your monthly quota, which is just unreal to me. Like, it is very cyclical. You know that the last month of every quarter, and especially the last couple months of the year, you can't be taking a week off. You can't really be taking days off. It's frowned upon. Like, it's very hustle culture, grind mentality, which is just stressful. Like, it's definitely a stressful job. I think people assume salespeople are just kind of like twiddling their thumbs and just not really doing anything because, like I said, it's not rocket science. But while there definitely are folks in that camp, I've experienced a lot of stress with how fast-paced it is. Lack of control. I think a lot of sales managers want everyone to have this outlook that kind of like they have in Ireland, where I think the phrase is like, there's no bad weather, only bad clothing. Like, no matter what the storm is, you can go out there, you're just not dressed right. Like, if you're complaining about the weather, like, it's on you. But the reality is, just looking at it from a structural level, sales comp is putting together everybody's quotas off of their best guesses. Like, it's not an exact science. They certainly have their formulas and whatever data that they pull, but they're putting together a count list in a vacuum. You know, they're putting together your territory, and what you get out of all of that is somewhat arbitrary. Like, it's not a divine sentencing that is all-knowing and perfectly accurate. And we saw that last year. Like, in a year like 2020, there was no way to set a quota for last year. We didn't know that there would be a global pandemic that would wipe out so many mainly small businesses, but also impact so many large businesses that suddenly were downsizing their contracts and canceling things rather than purchasing, which is not built into any account plan, not built into any quota. So I think that really shed some light, if people didn't realize already, that like your territory, it's not something where you can just put on, you know, a rain jacket or a parka or the right clothing for the bad weather. It's like there are some years, like last year, there are some patches that you'll be assigned to that just don't have a lot of opportunity in them. And it's like, you can't always just manufacture that. And that, of course, impacts your income, which is material to your quality of life, you know, whether you have loans to pay off or family to support or rent to pay. It's like you need some income and you need your territory to be ripe for growth. And that leads to how much of your time is not spent selling, if that's what you like about the job, but is spent on issues and repairing things and doing what is classified more as like customer success or customer support work. This only applies, of course, if you work with customers that own your company's products already. If you hate doing that so much and it's not in your interest whatsoever, there are sales positions out there that are like specifically net new, so you're only selling into greenfield accounts or greenfield territories where nobody owns any of your products. So like it's possible to avoid this part of the job, but a lot of sales jobs, you end up playing catch up because you can't even sell into the account until you fix the implementation issues they've had or the launch issues they've had. And so you spend a lot of your time in maintenance mode rather than getting to tell them the story of a roadmap of how they can expand with the products and whatnot. I think universally that's probably the thing that salespeople complain most about. Sales is a roller coaster. There's a lot of rejection. That's a huge con. It's very stressful when you're presenting to executives, you know, C-suite people at companies, and you're accountable to your company's actual revenue. Like that's what salespeople are for, right? People are on your ass. You're expected to forecast your business and predict how much you'll close, and you're very accountable and very visible of what you produce. And people aren't afraid to say like, you're not hitting the mark, like what's going on? So it's a roller coaster. There's a lot of rejection as well, right? Kind of wrapping these all into one, but it's one of the earliest things I contended with in my sales career was that like, that hard work doesn't necessarily pay off. Like you can put in so much work for an account and you're going up and up and up, and then everything just combusts and falls apart in a second, maybe because of something you did wrong and maybe not because of something you did at all. And then you're just falling down, down, down. Maybe you're in a sales job where you're more like smiling and dialing and just trying to like build as many leads as possible. And you're on the phone with people all day that are just telling you they don't care, they don't give a shit, they don't want to talk to you, what your company has done in the past 20 years is worthless. Like, you will just hear all kinds of crazy things come out of people's mouths, and that can kind of make you question your worth and can be hard to cope with. Nobody likes to be rejected. Nobody likes to be ghosted. But I probably have to thank a lot, probably not you guys because you're watching this video, but a lot of people on YouTube for helping me build up a very thick skin from the age of 13 onwards. I've gotten criticized for everything under the sun at this point, so I try to let things roll off my shoulders. If you got through all of that and the pros I put forth outweigh the cons, may I suggest learning about sales skills and beyond through Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video. Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands and thousands of classes and thousands of members that are taking courses in everything from UX, interior design, graphic design, you know, illustration, but there's also courses on public speaking, communication skills. There are sales courses on there as well. I'm personally not taking any job-related classes on Skillshare, but more so using it to learn more about meditation practices. I've taken cooking classes on there. I've been a member for, I think it's almost my 3-year anniversary, so I'm a believer, and the first 1,000 people to click the link in my description will get a free trial to Skillshare Premium. Annually, the premium membership is under $10 a month, so pretty manageable that way. Thanks again to Skillshare for being a continual supporter of my channel. If you watched this whole video and you hadn't yet clicked the red button and you think I'm worthy of your support, I would love to have you join the Katherout community and become a subscriber. It is literally free, there's no downside. And I've also made a ton of other videos about a day in the life in sales and more about how I got into sales, so I'll have those linked down below. I'm not here to glorify sales. I'm not trying to convince you. I have no intentions. Like, I'm not on this earth to sell you on sales. I'm not even on earth to sell. Who knows what I'm here for, really? I'm just here to vibe. If you appreciated what I had to say in this video, give it a like. I will see you all next time. Thanks as always for watching, and Katherout.